Alrighty, stored emotions. And I often get asked, how did I get started into all this spiritual stuff and personal development? So I had, great nutrition. I was always doing lots of running and lots of soccer, and so I was pretty good. I thought I was good. Thought it was. And that was probably, say, about 6-7 years ago now. And I was lucky enough to meet on Plenty of Fish a gorgeous goddess who had done a lot of spiritual energy healing and things like that. And she obviously picked up that my heart was depleted. Not a great thing to hear. She was absolutely right, because the fire body type, we've been firing out and got all this sun and a hand grenade of a fire here, and it makes our blood impure, and it's just hard work. And we naturally have a system that is very noticeable for toxins. But so we go and tend to use our fire and over-exercise without having a meditation practice and creating a more acidic environment, plus a lot of fungus that creates that distraction and to over-exercise more for a more acidic environment, because that's what fungus does. Anyway, so she did an energy healing for me, and I just cried for like 30 minutes. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't know that was there. Of course, there was a lot of my mum passed away when I was like 18, so there's a lot of residue from that sort of stuff stored in my blood, and then of course in the heart and reproductive system as a result. I didn't know it was there. And of course this was having a massive impact on every relationship that I had with every woman that I ever come across, essentially. And then that led me into going along to Shanti Mission, who do a lot of, energy work and basically a lot of chanting and meditations and emotional clearing things. Very good for that. Well, I don't agree with the head of it, who's a walking parasite colony. There's a lot of that there, but it's helpful. So I went to the first 8 out of 10 ceremonies. We're chanting and meditating and just, being with myself. I'm crying for 30 or 40 minutes. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't realize I was a complete emotional retard. Absolutely. And it's all stored in the body. So unless we get it out, it's going to keep reproducing, because we've got a reproductive system that's linked to the heart and it keeps sending out our emotional stuff stored in the organs. And unless we clean out the intestines, that will always be emotionally retarded. Simple. That's how the body works. Can't get past it. You can externalize it as much as you want. In the body, take responsibility is the only real successful way. So of course, all of this crying, which I had no idea was there, well, little hints, was like, former wife, former partners, every relationship with a woman I ever had, and lots of mum died, all this sort of emotional stuff, inner child things that I didn't know was there, kept coming up and repeating and repeating and repeating. But of course, because I was just owning it and within my stuff and, just taking responsibility, that emotional release was absolutely wonderful. So I kept coming back. It takes a fair bit of courage and stepping up and facing your stuff, but hey, you might as well release it, otherwise they're held prisoner by it. So, and that's going to reproduce through every single relationship in one's entire life. And who needs that? So, I thought I was socially healthy, was doing great things, but I was a complete emotional retard. And then later on, 6-7 years later, after actually rebuilding my temple, and with maximum nutrition, great nutrients, minerals, which does mean meat, and of course 5 years of detoxification at expert level, and cleaning up the cells, and yoga and meditation and all the beautiful things that we've come across, by being open, by clearing out that emotional stuff, which is all stored here generally. And then that allowed a lot more freedom of movement, freedom of mind, of subconscious mind, and then of course the universe in our day-to-day world became more available and much more open to new healing and new opportunities and new learnings. But unless I went through all that emotional stuff, I'd still be stagnant and stuck in it. So yeah, I was completely weak, hollow, had incredibly impure blood, absolutely toxic and filthy, and really weak bones. Organs were pathetic, and I was socially healthy. So there's a bucket load more when we open ourselves up to getting rid of our emotional stored stuff. And you can become more love and light and more actually coming from your soul rather than your critters and your gunk. And then you might actually get into the subtleties of the body, which are subtle bodies when you're waking up third eye, and then you actually start to get quality perception rather than just thinking. Because thinking, totally overrated. If you're thinking, you're not good at thinking. Because one of the keys to empowerment is, of course, the response ability, or the ability to respond powerfully. Or, even more so, when you get power to let it go and have it in your presence and not need to use it. That's the best one. I recently got the power to grant life eternal. Pretty helpful. And I'll use it when asked or when it's reflected, but I don't need to use it constantly. That's more internal empowerment. Cool, huh? So, getting rid of that emotional stuff and facing it is absolutely sensational because we're projecting it in our energy field and in our life on a day-to-day basis. But I didn't realize there was an abandoned little boy who was angry at the world and was incredible in liver and gallbladder, and then incredibly sad at everything feminine because that was the spleen imbalance, let alone the rest of the stuff, because there seems to be quite a bit there. But the key is, while you're going through this, try not to project it onto other people and tell them that they've got these problems that you're facing, because that's weak and empowered and it's not going to have a good result for your relationships. Absolutely. And of course, if you're in a circumstance or a situation where you get to share with a healer or a friend, set the tone. Say something like, oh, can I vent or can I share? I'm dealing with some stuff. Then they'll know and they won't react because we've all got stuff. But that's essentially setting that container to say that, I'd like to get some stuff out. That's cool. But generally, an energy exchange is very helpful for that, just so the other person doesn't feel depleted and you're throwing your stuff at them. That doesn't help the relationship. So, definitely emotional clearing, going through the stories, the psychological work, absolutely essential, or we'll be still prisoner by it. And who wants that? Giddy up.